So I've got a crazy landlord story for you, and it takes place in the great state of California. This is a landlord that we know, and they had a resident who was doing great for a while, paying rent on time, things were good. But then that resident lost their job and things went sideways pretty quickly. Ended up getting to the point where that resident stopped paying rent, and the owners, instead of doing a eviction, they asked the resident to voluntarily leave. Once that resident left, the owners found out that that resident had moved in multiple unauthorized occupants into the property. And when that resident voluntarily left, that resident stole all of the unauthorized occupants' personal belongings, gave the keys back to the owner, and was done. Well, those unauthorized occupants then proceeded to call the police department, and the police department released the owner's personal information to the unauthorized occupants. So the unauthorized occupants then started going after the property owner to try to get some kind of a reimbursement for their personal belongings, when the owner, in fact, had no idea that these unauthorized occupants were even in the property and living in the property. Fast forward about 10 or 11 days later, these unauthorized occupants drafted up a fake lease and provided the fake lease to law enforcement, and law enforcement then allowed them access, and they were successful by getting access back to the property even after the previous resident, who was the one on the lease, who was voluntarily asked to leave, actually left the property. These unauthorized occupants made their way back into the property. So the owner's family member got wind of this, and they decided to take matters into their own hands and try to get these people out. Well, fast forward, what ended up happening is the owner's family member got thrown in jail. Meanwhile, the criminals still occupy the property. This is definitely one of those crazy stories. So it's crazy because the unauthorized occupants had moved back into the property, barricaded all of the access points, and are now continuing to squat in the property, and the owner has to go through all of the hoops and processes to get them out in the state of California, where criminals and squatters have more rights than the property owner.